out, Rayvers. Now, unfortunately, the copyright boss, they've blocked what my scheduled video were going to be. But not to worry, I've got another review for you this week instead. And we've had a lot of requests for another appearance from this fella. Yes, it's Telly time.
Who loves you, baby?
Because this week we're looking at Telly Savalas in 1970s heist caper movie, Inside Out. Now, I'm aware there's a Pixar animated thing called Inside Out, isn't there? This ain't that, no. And Telly Savalas stars as Harry Morgan, a former American Army major who were in a prisoner of war camp during World War II. What were run by German Colonel Ernst Furben, played by James Mason, doing his best German accent.
Before I commanded the prisoner of war camp, I was attached to the Quartermaster Corps in Berlin.
And he's doing that sort of breathy voice, what he does. I wonder sometimes if he's struggling and needs an inhaler. Anyway, he recounts a story from this German corporal about some Nazi gold, which apparently were hidden during the Second World War. And he wants Telly to help him find it, because he needs Telly's resourcefulness. Because it transpires that the only bloke who knows where this gold is this Nazi war criminal general bloke who's in a maximum security prison in Berlin. Now, because this gold is worth about £6 million, Telly's in, he's keen. So he heads over to Amsterdam, a vibrant cosmopolitan European city, rich with culture and famous for its canal network. Not dissimilar, you could argue, from our very own Birmingham.
It was spectacular cherry blossom time in Birmingham's Bourneville. Riding the express elevator to the top of one of the city's highest buildings, this is the view that nearly took my breath away. The sound of disco music was in the air, so I wandered over to see what gives. It was an over 40s competition, and incredible. Birmingham's road systems are revolutionary. The Inner Ring Road, Queensway. Yes, it's my kind of town. So long, Birmingham. Here's looking at you.
Yes, you can tell from that beautifully produced film that Telly obviously loves Birmingham and has spent a lot of time there. He's definitely been. Anyway, in Amsterdam, Telly recruits Robert Culp, an international ex-con who he reckons can help him get out of this gold. Now, it's funny seeing Robert Culp in this, because I'm used to seeing Robert Culp in Columbo. And he's always the baddie in Columbo, he's always murderer, isn't he? Tends to be very suave, but invariably nasty piece of work, an evil turd.
Nice shot, Doc.
Yes.
For a while there, I thought I was going to spoil your game.
Not a chance, Lieutenant.
Whereas in this, he's sort of the romantic lead, which I suppose compared to Telly and James Mason, he is. It's all relative, isn't it? I mean, she's got to be in her early 20s, but he can't be any younger than mid-40s there, can he? Bloody hell. Anyway, as soon as Telly's persuaded Robert Culp to get on board with the plan, they head over to Berlin. Yes, another lovely European city, although obviously it took hammering in World War II, what with all the bombing and that. Arguably not dissimilar from our very own Portsmouth.
"40 years ago, 1,320 high explosives, 39,000 incendiaries, and 38 mines were dropped on her. Guildhall Square is the hub around which Portsmouth revolves, and dominated by the magnificent Guildhall. On the nights of the 10th and the 11th of January 1941, incendiary bombs destroyed the interior. The Guildhall seems to be looking at me, so long, Portsmouth. He is looking at you."
Yeah, it's evident from that film there that Telly very knowledgeable about Portsmouth. Obviously, very fond of the place. Must have been there a lot. Definitely been there. Definitely been there. Now, they managed to recruit some other folk to help them with the heist, including the German Corporal, who told James Mason about the gold in the first place. Now, I want to know what his secret is. He must have been on the oil of Ulay, because he don't look a day older than he did in World War II. That's 30 years before this. He's won well, whatever it is. And Telly also recruits one of his former soldiers, who has now become duty sergeant at the prison what the Nazi war criminals been held in. So he's able to get Telly and Robert Culp into prison so they can get hold of this Nazi war criminal, drug him up so he's away with fairies, pop a disguise on him, and then march him out of prison. And if you thought that were daft, you ain't seen that yet, because now things get really stupid. Because they know the Nazi war criminal ain't just going to tell them where the gold is. So they managed to convince him that he's actually back in 1945 by dressing up as a couple of Nazi generals and Adolf Hitler. Although, to be fair, that bloke is pretty convincing Hitler. He's pretty good. Anyway, they managed to get the info off him and have to head off to East Berlin so that they can get their hands on the gold and get the war criminal back in prison before anybody notices. But before they can do that, they've got to get past Checkpoint Charlie, deal with a load of Russian soldiers, and there's a lot of will they won't they tension, that sort of stuff. I don't mean will they won't they have it off. No, not that sort of tension. No, will they won't they do the heist. Yeah, will they won't they get back in time. That's what I mean. Now, Telly's performance in this, it's a bit weird, to be honest with you, because it's supposed to be this former US Army major, but he seems overly flamboyant, maybe even a bit camp at times.
Ben Sly, pray tell. Who do you have in mind?
Just a bit weird. And there's also some very weird tonal shifts with the music. I mean, that music couldn't be more 1970s if it tried, could it? Anyway, they managed to get out at gold. But unfortunately, the Peter Pan German Corporal gets shot dead in process. So it all goes a little bit weekend at Bernie's as they try and get back across at Checkpoint Charlie. Which is a shame because, as I say, his Hitler impression really was very good. Very good. And despite some last minute will they won't attention, not that sort of will they won't attention, they managed to get the Nazi war criminal back in his cell and they've got away with it.
Now tell me, Ferbert, deep down, were you ever a Nazi?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good times, laughing and having fun there with the Nazi. Righty-ho, on to Ray's ratings. Well, I'd never heard of this film. It passed me by the first time it were out. No idea about it. And once I'd heard the plot, I thought, good grief, this is going to be an absolute pile of shite. So my expectations were very low. 1-star film. And maybe because my expectations were so low, I watched it with an open mind and I found myself quite enjoying it and I got into it. Especially when they were doing the heist and, you know, they had to get the Nazi war criminal back to prison in time. You know, it was quite tense at places. Bottom line, did I enjoy watching it? Yeah, I did. So I'm rating Inside Out a 3-star, 1-star film. Yeah, doesn't hurt, does it, when your expectations are so low? You know, the only way is up from there, isn't it? I tell you what, though, it would have been nice to see a bit more after they finished the heist. Yeah, what did they do with the money? Yeah, maybe they went on a jolly to Las Vegas, something like that. Or maybe they went sunning the sands in Rio de Janeiro. Or possibly took a trip to Aberdeen.
A city by the sea is a bonus for me. Aberdeen is one of the most fascinating places in Europe. I was captivated by everything I saw. And I'll be back, well, that's for sure. In the meantime, so long, Aberdeen, and here's looking at you.
Hey, see, Telly, he loves Aberdeen. Yeah, he's definitely been. Yeah, he's definitely been. He's been. Has he been? He ain't been. Well, hope you enjoyed my review of Inside Out. And if you did, poke the like button. Give it a good poking. Thank you. Share, rate reviews with your mates, and subscribe if you ain't already subscribed. My numbers are slowly creeping up, so it's much appreciated. Now, hopefully I'll be back next week, but I don't know at the moment, what with all the copyright bots blocking some of my videos and that, who knows. So I'll hopefully be back next week, but we will see. But you can always come and join me on a Sunday night. It's race night, copyright bots don't block that. So 7 o'clock, I'll pop a link in the description below. It'll be lovely to see you there. And I will see you next time, whenever that may be. Okeydoo!